You're listening to the Tunetribe podcast.
Good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to the Tunetribe podcast. I have here with me for the third time a writer who writes about TV and radio for The Guardian. She used to be deputy editor of the unbelievably legendary Smash Hits, which I believe was the seat formerly occupied by Neil Tennant. Is that right?
My utter hero, yes.
Unbelievable.
And, sadly, it's 10 years nearly to the day since that fine publication closed down. We were all just saying the other day.
Is it? Are we talking sort of 10-year anniversary type?
Of its demise.
Are we
yes.
coming up to it? We're coming up to it.
Right now.
Amazing. I'm reading. Sorry, but before we go on to that, we are, of course, talking today to none other than Hannah Verdier. Hello, Hannah.
Hello.
And welcome back for the third time. I'm so glad that you came in. You're of course coming in because of my paucity of knowledge about pop, and to which you bring such an enormous kind of lorry load of expertise.
I'm coming in because you've finally converted, is what I like to think.
Well, last time you converted me to Cameo, I believe, the last time we were here.
As if anyone would need converting. I'm going for NSYNC next.
I wanted to just to get on the subject of Smash Hits. There's a regular podcast contributor called David Laurie, who has a record label called Something in Construction, who has written a book called Dare about how much he loves 1981.
Oh,
and
wow.
And he goes on about at length, of course, about Smash Hits and how it, to a certain extent that was just, that was the time where weird stuff was in the charts, so it wasn't just Lady Gaga. It was like every single band in the charts was kind of doing experimental stuff like Human League.
Are you talking about Joe Dolce here?
Well, he was the exception.
Because I was watching TOTP 81 the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was just so many good things. Toya,
yeah,
who was your proper pop star of the time, and
they were all proper pop stars, and yet they
yeah.
were all almost they were dressing, they were finding their own sort of strange fashion accessories, and the songs weren't recognisable as sort of bona fide pop songs, and yet it was all kind of popular and selling.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the time when Smash Hits or something like that would have covered the lot, which it was an education to us children in the Midlands, that all these people with the strange directional haircuts existed and made these songs. And I think it was very important for us back then. It was
Lovely the way that they trailblazed the taking the mick, didn't they? The taking the mick opposed to just celebrating the perfection of pop, which is kind of really takes us to what we're talking about today, because we're talking about an album which came out last November. So where are we now? We're in February.
Oh, excuse the pun.
What?
You
I missed it.
You just dropped a Bieber title there.
Oh, yeah, I did that quite cleverly, didn't I? Quite cleverly, without even knowing it myself.
He's brainwashed.
You're right, you have converted me. So here he is. He's Justin Bieber. He's on his fourth album. Yeah. He'd had a unbelievable catalogue of success since his debut EP, which was the My World EP in 2010. It doesn't seem like that long ago, 2010.
No, but to him it's a lifetime.
Well, quite.
Yeah. He's only 12 now.
Tell us a little bit about Bieber, because clearly I know nothing and you know everything.
The Biebs?
Yeah, the Biebs.
The Biebs.
Well, I can't, I'm not qualified to call him the Biebs, only you are.
Okay, he's from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the Lord.
He does. I didn't know that he loves and his mum obviously is pivotal in this. And did you know that? I'm sure you did know this, that his mum questioned the interest from his putative manager because
from Scooter.
That's right.
Because he was Jewish.
That's right. That seems bizarre to me.
Which is just, it's just bizarre because he's sort of made him who he is. But I suppose she wanted to protect him.
This is Bieber's manager, is Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun, who was on a few weeks ago. You probably saw it, the Music Moguls program, the one about managers, and there was Scooter was interviewed about Bieber, and I think at one point he's just talking about Bieber, and then Bieber comes up and goes, "Hey, what are you doing, man?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm doing an interview, go away," or something like that. Maybe it was staged, I don't know.
Well, what would anything be staged with the Biebs? But he's, he started off life as a bit of a minor irritant, I would say, to a lot of people. He's massively talented and always has been. But with Baby, as went round everyone's heads for quite some time, but as you would refer to, it's probably before his voice broke.
Well, I mean, I'm not sort of being disparaging about it. I think that was true.
No, he was quite squeaky, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But now...
Because he now says that apparently he can't hit some of the notes in Baby, Please.
Happens to us all.
Since his a bit only in the shower for us.
Yeah. But also, he went through the proper channels of doing a Christmas album, doing all the cheese, but he's got to the age now where he wants to reinvent himself, and I think with this album, he's really, really done it, and he's chosen wisely. He's chosen the right producers, the right songwriters, and a lot of people are now thinking he's the Bieber it's okay to like.
But it's interesting that he was really quite phenomenally successful. I mean, obviously even more so now, but there was a period where things weren't looking quite as rosy for him.
Yeah, so I think you're probably thinking about when he got his monkey stolen, or when he threw a bit of a strop at the airport. Those sort of, he's had his incidents, and he's sulked and he's cancelled and.
Maybe, possibly. I'm thinking. I did not realise. Here's the thing: he did a film subsequent to, I think, the I'm slightly confused about the chronology of his albums, because after his...
It's only been 4 years.
I know, but he's done so much. Well, so My World 2.0, which was the album, the first album, with Baby, Please on it. He then did a Christmas album? Is that right?
Believe he did a Christmas album to cash in on that, yeah. I mean, because he loves Christmas songs, Christmas, like Mariah, yeah.
And then he did Never Say Never. Is that...
Was that the film?
That was the film, and it apparently... grossed, and I'm finding this hard, even while saying it, I find it hard to believe. It grossed a total of $98 million, or $98.5 million. Just the film on its own.
It was also nominated for a number of Oscars. No, it wasn't, of course not. But as an insight into his life, it was a beautiful film. Okay, I haven't seen it.
So that was in 2011. And then he went on, and here's where I'm going to. Yes, he might have had some issues with the egg throwing, I think, wasn't there? But he went on Saturday Night Live, and then it didn't seem to go down terribly well. He was as one of the hosts on Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
And there was some kind of business. He had to cancel some dates because they weren't selling very well in Europe, and it didn't seem to be. Maybe, and actually, I mean, I've not observed his career with a magnifying glass, but I kind of sensed, of course, that's all going, eventually we will stop hearing about Justin Bieber, because that, he's clearly had his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
How wrong I was.
Yeah, I think there were the rumours of bad behaviour and ignoring fans, cancelling gigs, all that kind of palaver, and maybe he was getting a little bit fed up with it all. But a comeback, which I think you can call this album, and what a comeback. And what a comeback.
Now talk us through this album.
So, for the entry-level Beliebers,
yes,
probably be aware of the collaborations he's had with Diplo and Skrillex, which in fact I think they put out without saying it was him on it, when they did Where Are You Now? It was under their pseudonym of Jack Hugh.
Okay.
And that's the one actually that just won a Grammy for Best Dance Recording, which puts Bieber, I think, in a totally different place. He's not, he's EDM now, as they say over the pond.
He's EDM, yeah, and also Jack Hugh. This is Jack Hugh with umlauts over the over the
like
U,
Prince, but a little bit more exotic. Yes.
Yeah, with a little bit more Lemmy.
Yeah.
Possibly. So Skrillex and Diplo. Diplo is? Am I right in saying Diplo is French? Is that right?
I think they're both American.
Oh, they're both American. Okay, I'm confused.
I may be completely wrong. Skrillex is the one with the hair that used to go out with Ellie Goulding, and Diplo's the other one. That's how I remember.
Diplo's the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So that came out almost anonymously, and that came out quite early on last year. That collab.
Yeah, and he's also had a habit of preferring not to appear in his videos and getting dancers to just dance it out. And let me tell you, those routines are very hard to master in your living room if you're going to try it.
Have you tried it?
Yes, of course, I've got 2 girls, but yeah, it's the sorry one in particular there's a lot of movement in there that I can't do.
Now, when did was Sorry am I right in saying was Sorry the kind of the big trailblazing single from this album?
Now you're testing me. I
Well,
think it was the one that everyone knew it was him, basically.
Yeah.
And it does sound, from the very beginning, it sounds really different. It could be anyone singing, because I don't think his voice is massively distinctive. And I'm not dissing the Biebs there.
Interesting.
But it could be a number of vocalists, I think, singing in that style, but it's him. So I don't think it's the voice that separates him. I think he's worked really cleverly with the right people.
How interesting. Because I just, again, you're observing this much more closely than me, but I thought, well, clearly he must have an individual voice in order to be so phenomenally successful. But actually you're saying that it's more about having a good voice, but a very clever kind of collaborative effort.
He's like a modern-day Jerry Halliwell, if you will.
Ouch!
No, but it's the same sort of thing as Madonna. I mean, you wouldn't... I went to see Madonna. It was absolutely amazing, but I wouldn't choose to listen to her voice. But the way...
Interesting.
She always collaborates with the right people, and she knows what's good, and she puts the people around her that make that talent go a long way. I was about to say a little talent, but that would be controversial. But just enough talent go the right way, I think.
Okay, so Sorry, I agree. It's a fine record.
Yes.
Now, who produced it? Have you got a little note there?
Have I? I don't think I have. Is that a Diplo one?
I think so.
I'm such an amateur.
Yeah, no. We're going to find out. Max is on the wheels of steel. We're just going to find out who produced Sorry, because I know that on the previous record he'd had he'd done some collaborations with the ubiquitous Max Martin.
Some Swedes.
Yeah, some Swedes. Yeah. It is a Skrillex one. Yeah, you're right. There you see, Hannah. You're underestimating your Smash Hits prowess.
Skrillex, so yeah.
So. Okay, but are there any Swedes on this record at all? Who they seem? I'd be so surprised.
I don't actually know if he's Swedish. Call me racist there. They're on Love Yourself.
Yes.
Which is, I think, the one that has stuck around for the longest. It's an Ed Sheeran collaboration, but also there's Benny Blanco, who wrote Kesha's TikTok, which I think is one of the finest pop songs of modern times, and also he wrote Moves Like Jagger.
Goodness me.
5. And
did he really?
Yes, which has the most ridiculous lyrics I found as I was listening to Heart FM driving along the other day. But these are all massive hits, so he knows. What can you just tell us what the lyric? Remind us what the lyric? Because I've never actually listened to the lyrics other than it's just repeated. I thought it was all about dancing like Jagger, but it's all this big story about them taking ages to get their clothes off and all sorts of tomfoolery going on.
Can we look up
the bloke from Maroon 5?
I'm just going to ask Max if we can look up Benny Blanco and find out whether he is part of the Swedish Massive. I've got that book recently. I don't know whether you've got it, about the kind of the towering kind of Swedish songwriting system.
Oh no, but I'd like to. Is it like the Brill Building in there?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a little bit of a sort of that's the one. Yeah, we're looking at Max looking at it right now. It sort of not exposes, but it's done in a dramatic way to sort of say that these guys, they specialize in almost chemically enhanced choruses, which go straight to the part of your brain that wants to sing along and shell out your cash to buy the MP3.
Oh, definitely.
It's absolutely fascinating, and I wish I could remember the title. I will come up with a title a little bit later.
Because I think that's absolutely right, though. Because I credit Kesha with curing my postnatal depression with her songs. Totally. It's just that's lovely. That's.
And it's interesting that Love Yourself is very much, it's in that, it has that thing. And I think Ed Sheeran, again, has got a little bit of what is, is credited to those Swedish songwriters. And he has an ability to take lyrically quite something that we can all identify with, because the lyric of Love Yourself is just all, it's basically saying, I thought you liked me, and you're actually you're just all over yourself and being horrible to me.
Yeah.
And it's actually, even though maybe on the face of it, it's not the most original idea. It's done in quite a clever way, and the tune is just, well, once you've heard it a single time. Yeah,
it's really subtle.
It's in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there, and it's a bit of something that translates to like the live lounge, that sort of thing. I mean, Craig David did it, so he can do anything. And he did it really well.
Craig David is back.
I know, he's so back. I would suggest he's never been away with his ethos of eat clean, train dirty, which
he was
I
here
like to live by.
Oh, see, I was going to make a gag about him being here on Monday, and then he could.
Don't ask what he's doing on Saturday. No, but Craig David has. Did you see him on Jonathan Ross?
I didn't see him. Tell me.
Basically,
does he look the same? Because I haven't actually seen any pictures of him recently. I'm not out.
He's kept himself nice. He basically looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
But he unleashed like the meaning of life on Jonathan Ross. He basically told this story about how all this time he'd written all these songs and moved to Miami and wanted a Lamborghini, and he was driving along in his Lamborghini. Then he wanted to be back in his old life, having to write songs. And
was he talking about himself in the third person?
Craig David.
Was he talking?
He said Craig David was driving along. No, but he does tend to.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But he just comes across as really wise, and what he was saying is absolutely right. But yeah.
And what's his song called? Is that he's back with a bullet?
Oh, when the bass line drops.
When the bass line drops, yes.
That's Craig David for you.
Come on, Craig. So back to Biebs.
Sorry, yes. Gone down a Craig hole, sorry.
Now we're looking, we've got the vinyl here, and it's pleasing that Bieber is on vinyl. Now, Hannah, would you like to do your requisite duty here?
Oh, can I use my pen?
You can use your pen. You might have to open it the other side.
Oh, what?
With the...
What? What is this?
The opening. It's I think it's just it's not a gatefold, but it's a...
There's more than one record in it.
I think it's a double, yeah. It's got 2 records in it. But interestingly, it looks like it hasn't got as many songs on it as I've been listening to on my MP3 machine. Hannah is just literally ripping the plastic off. There it comes.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay, so talk us through this. I think listeners might be familiar with the cover, but please tell us what's on the cover.
I want to tell you some more.
Yeah.
Biebs has his eyes closed, his tips are frosted, his tats are showing. Apparently he's got a lot of tats. I saw an interview the other day where he's got Jesus, Selena Gomez, a penguin, all the faces are on there. And there's some weird symbolism.
Has he got a picture of Selena Gomez on his as a tattoo, or just her name?
I don't know.
He's not going out with her anymore, is he? No. Single.
But, yeah.
Single, listeners.
And and there he is in black and white, looking very moody. On the flip side, he's survived a plane crash.
What is going on the back there?
Is that even him?
Well, I haven't actually
Maybe that's his career when he lost his monkey.
What is that on the back, Hannah? Is that a plane? Is that an ancient aeroplane?
I'm no expert, but
it does look like an aeroplane, but it looks like it's kind of made of concrete.
Yes.
And is that him on the top? Is there a person standing on the top of it?
That's him.
Okay.
That's him walking along there with his hood up, and he's got a skateboard. Like he's going to do some skating.
He's going to do some skate shapes.
Yeah. I have no idea what that means. He's executive producer. What does that mean, Ben?
I think that, well, in the film world, that means he's stumped the money up. But in the music world, I think that implies that he oversees all his collaborators and has final say.
Do you want to know who the other two are?
And maybe gets a point, but I don't know about that.
The other two?
Yeah.
Exec producers, because you need
okay, I reckon...
Right, come on.
Well...
I don't think you'll get the third one.
Well, is Scooter one of them? Scooter Braun is...
correct.
Okay. And I'm going to take a punt on saying that the third executive producer is Patricia Millette, his mum.
No, it's only Usher.
Oh, of course, it's Usher.
Yeah.
Okay, because he was signed to...
Imitated.
Usher and Scooter signed him to their management company or label. Is that right?
He was like a mini Usher when he first came out, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah.
I'm going in.
Okay, so we're going in. We got some.
He's on some massive rock on the inside.
So that isn't an inner sleeve. That's just a lyric sheet, is that? Or
It is
or a
without
poster.
It's a credit sheet because
Credit
the
sheet.
credits are as long as the lyrics might be.
You do not surprise
I
me.
know.
Are there any surprises there, though? I mean, are we looking at
On the collabs.
on the collabs or the songwriting credits? Are we looking at some surprising?
We are looking
God,
at.
we're looking at some tiny print, though, aren't we?
are.
Goodness
That's
me!
what I have to hold right away from me. I'm not 25 anymore.
Do you want to borrow my
I
my
might need some
senior's
bifocals.
magnifying glass?
The one collaborator who I think he's carried through is Jason Boyd, who you might know as Pooh Bear.
Oh, I've heard of Pooh Bear.
Yeah, Pooh Bear's on there quite a lot. Bieber is credited on, I would say, every song, which is a nice thing.
As a writer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's got those pens out, and Pooh Bear's on there. Pooh Bear, of course, co-wrote one of the finest R&B songs of recent years, Usher's "Caught Up."
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
So there's an Usher connection in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and there he is in a giant rock inside. Take a look at the vinyl.
Okay. That's a nice shot actually. He's kind of standing on a promontory, is that the word? Promontory?
Ooh.
I don't know. He's standing on the edge of a rock looking across a seemingly endless beach with not a soul in sight apart from him.
It could be anyone though. He might just have a stunt Bieber.
It
in
could
there.
actually be a
He
stunt.
might have been a
a
bit
stunt
busy
Bieber,
writing
yeah.
all those songs.
Yeah. On the other side, he's standing on a very interesting rock formation. He's looking a little bit like Brian Harvey from E17.
Oh, I hope there's no cars nearby. You might get
Doesn't
run over. Oh
Now
no, it was his own
he,
car, wasn't it?
He's a middle-class boy from Ontario, am I right? And yet he's very hip-hop. I mean, his whole look, his hat, his hooded top, big-tongued trainers,
Yeah.
and obviously got quite a few featured artists in there to add sort of extra hip-hop kudos. I mean, has he always had that hip-hop thing
I
going
think
on?
he'd like to think so, yes. He's always had that look going on. Maybe he's from southeast Ontario, who knows? If it's anything like southeast London. Where I live, so I can say that. Yeah, I think he's always thought that he might be a little bit hip-hop light.
He was actually born in London, Ontario, so you're not far
there
off.
you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's wrong to make a comparison at this point, but I think of this album a bit like when Justin Timberlake went solo, and he basically got the Neptunes to do just about everything that was good on that album.
Yeah. And that was
And
phenomenally successful, wasn't it?
Yeah, so successful. But I think when you listen to it now, you can tell the kind of NSYNC songs and the ballads, which actually Biebs has got some ballads and a bit that do for me fall a little bit flat. If there would be one criticism of this album, there's a bit of filler in there. But I think
inevitably over that amount of songs. I mean, okay, it's not 18 on the album.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the album follows the non-deluxe CD format. That it's got about 13 songs on it.
But even so, that's a lot to. I mean, he's of course in true pop star style. He recorded it and scrapped a load, and then came to this. But it's quite surprising that people like Ed Sheeran did collaborate with him, because he's out Sheeraning Sheeran, I think, on Love Yourself. And I'm sure there's room for two Sheerans, but yeah, but also it's quite a different style to the really good songs, the Where Are You Nows, which which can kind of stand alone without any Bieber.
So he's had a quite amazing chart success with this record in the UK, particularly at one point he seemed to be kind of just trouncing himself in the singles charts.
Yeah, he was number 1, number 2, and number 1 again. Yeah.
So he appears to be at a stage now where he can do no wrong. He's already kind of come through the bad boy period. He's turned that around. Was there any presence from him at the Grammys last night, or does he not get in any of the categories. He didn't seem to be nominated in any. Maybe it came out after the Grammy window.
Well, he won. Hang on, I have got it written down. The best dance recording. I get really confused with the Grammy categories because there's so many.
There's so many of them, exactly.
Because I think the big winners were Sheeran and Taylor Swift. They seem to have armfuls. But he, in a way, I think that's better for him to just win the dance category, really.
I suppose so, yeah.
And he performed. I haven't watched it yet. And also, he did the all-important James Corden carpool karaoke dressed in a white suit, which...
Okay, I have to admit, I didn't see them either. I've just seen highlights. And he certainly
I only
didn't
watched the red carpet. That's actually true.
Well, you've got to for your job, I suppose, haven't you?
Yeah. I love it.
You've got to. So, does it compare favourably? This purpose, does it compare favourably to the previous Bieber outing in your Bieber household?
I think Bieber, you would always get the massive pop songs and that are really good. And I would think Baby would be in that, even though everyone was really, really annoyed by it. You know, if it's annoying, someone's liking it. But I think he's taken it exactly where he should at his age, and he's gone into the dance.
So how old is he? Because he can't be more than
14?
like 22.
I don't know how old Justin Bieber is.
I think he was born. He's certainly younger than Swiftie. He was born in 1994. So how old does that make him?
No one was born in 94.
21. He's going to be...
21.
Is it really 21? He must be 20. Going to be 22 this year, though, right?
March 1st.
Yeah.
Don't try and make yourself sound younger. Like, surely he must be 22. Come on, you can't. When Justin Bieber's 21.
Successful.
Yeah, but there are, as I say, there are some fillers. There's the album really doesn't get going until track 4. Until track 3. Sorry, I'm reading
Is
it
track
wrong.
3 Sorry?
No, track 3 is What Do You Mean, and track 4 is
Right.
Sorry. But Mark My Words is just your
That's the opening track, Mark
standard.
My Words.
Yeah, it's a standard opener, and it's the same thing as Justin Timberlake did when he did this kind of album. He did Senorita, which one of my friends described as not even a song. It's just an intro. It's not a song.
But I suppose
And
if you're
then
in
it
for the
all
big,
gets-
if you're in, it's that hip hop thing, isn't there? Because there is almost like a genre in the hip hop album world where the tradition was that, well, we got CD length, so let's just put some comedy skits in the middle and let's do an intro track where, yeah, it's not even a song, but we can probably get some. But I mean, we're being harsh though, because it is a song. Mark.
Well, it is a song.
But I have to admit, I'm with you when I put it on. And I have to say, I'm a real Johnny-come-lately to this record because it's only really been in the last couple of weeks that I've been listening to it. And when I put it on, my heart did sink a bit because I was expecting it to, kick off with something in the as good as Sorry or Love Yourself. And
you'd think you'd want to come out with one of those, but I suppose the way that the world has seen it, we've seen all those songs. It's a bit like a faux leakage of all the early songs, letting them out, but not really hinted at what's on the album because it would be so different.
Yeah.
But I think it just shows you who listens to an album all the way through these days. Because I'd skip right to track 3.
Well, tell me a bit about the way that you listen to music, because you've got how old are your kids? Your Bieber listeners?
They're 4 and 6.
4 and 6, and are they? Obviously, you're saying you're doing the dance routines. Clearly, they're not fully choreographed dance routines yet. But you're kind of.
Well.
Are you still at the point where you're inflicting your musical taste on your kids, or are they saying, "Oh, my mum, we want to hear the Biebs"?
Well, it's weird. It's just at that tipping point at the moment because they listen to a lot of disco and they listen to a lot of chic, and then and then they.
So basically, you are inflicting your musical taste.
But then
on
I
them.
caught my eldest transcribing the lyrics of Kesha's Timber, which is an amazing song, but it's not really suitable for a child that age. One more shot, another round. It's
so how was she transcribing it? Did she have a YouTube thing open, or
she wanted me to pop it on again and again on Spotify, and I was like, "Why do you want to? Are you learning the dance?" And she had a pen out and was doing
writing out the
old school writing out the lyrics.
That's brilliant. That is so cool.
But of course, doing all phonetically, it had like one more shot, another round with a V, which,
Yeah.
it could well be that.
But at the same time, she could probably get a job, doing just transcribing the lyrics for the inner sleeves at record companies.
Exactly.
Similar level of
I feel like
spelling.
I feel like this is work experience.
So okay, so you are listening because as I said, my girls are slightly older and they are now kind of bringing in their own choices,
Right.
and that's and it is now getting to the point where they're obviously who wouldn't question their dad's taste, but Maddie, who's my eldest, who's 12, she said an interesting thing about Bieber in that she said, "Oh yeah, I don't really like him." But I do like some of the songs on this album. I do like this album. So she's kind of making that break between him, which presumably him represents this kind of child star singing "Baby, Baby, Please," which she's probably old enough to just about be aware of, and having she's quite fave with YouTube and looking up stuff, and then listening to the new songs, which is very clearly a different person almost. It's a grown-up man singing in a different voice.
That's right, but I think a lot of people older than her think that as well, that suddenly it's okay to like the Biebs. And there was all those things going around on social media. Oh, if he makes another song like that, I'm going to be a Belieber. It's like, just admit
really? So
that
there's
you
that
like
kind of stuff
it. Yeah,
going
it's
on.
that real kind of,
Right.
oh, I can't help it. But yeah, it's just like, listen to it if you like it. Don't be so snobby about it.
So it's people. So you think actually people? There's a genuine. It's almost. He's one of those artists who, the initial knee-jerk reaction is to say, "Oh no," kind of like the way that a lot of people do to Coldplay, for example. Oh no, I can't bear Coldplay, even though actually, what's not to like?
and
good
then they
tunes.
put that one with a nose flute out, and everyone's like, actually, that's not bad, is it? Yeah.
So, interesting. So, he's amazing. What an
He's
amazing,
transcending.
what an amazing kind of manipulation of people's taste, I suppose.
That's true, but I think it all comes down to why are people being so snobby in the first place about the Biebs? I mean, you get to a certain age and you realise that he's all right. I can imagine teenagers thinking that he's not for me, but...
You are an absolute kind of prime example of someone who has never put never had a problem with liking something because of the way it sounds.
Yeah, there's
regardless.
no guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
I hate that.
It's a horrible term, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because it's all just, if music is nice and makes you feel good, then why not listen to it?
Yeah.
Even Coldplay, I would say.
And likewise, why listen to something which you personally don't really find very, very pleasurable for the sake of it, because it's quite cool and everyone's telling you that you need to. I don't know. I'm not going to name any current hit. Well, I don't know.
Who should we be listening to?
Well, in the way that we're all told to listen to, for example, "I Love You, Honey Bear" by Father John Misty. Now I'm looking at Max now because I know Max is a huge fan of Father John Misty, and I like it and it's good, but I still feel slightly under pressure from the media that it should be my album of the year. It really should. You really should be listening, and you must make sure that you listen to Joanna Newsom. Yeah. But she sings with a painful wail and plays the harp in a way that frightens me.
Yeah, you see, I think there's no room for harps in my life, and I wouldn't even do it to be cool.
I don't mean to be unnecessarily nasty about artists at all. I'm just using them. I'm plucking them from the air. But these are very hip artists, and we are told that we should like them in the same way that the media kind of imply that we shouldn't like Justin Bieber or Coldplay or any one of a number of other pop things.
Yeah, and then there's always this when people are reviewing it that. It's like, it's a sense of surprise. Actually, this album's really good because he's got good producers and all this. But actually, it just is, half of it's a bit filler. The rest of it's good. Listen to the good stuff and, try and learn the dance routines. But, there's no need to diss the Biebs. But I think when anything becomes massively successful, I think that's a problem with Coldplay, isn't it? That, they never stood a chance, really, because... everyone's
Well,
like,
once they'd started selling bucket loads of records. You mean?
yeah. I mean, I remember when they first came out, and I thought they're all right. But I remember it was, I don't know if you remember this. It was them.
Certainly remember when they first came
Well,
out.
it was them, and there was a band called Contempo who I liked, who was sort of the prettier version of Coldplay.
Okay.
And they both had their, you know, at Glastonbury you'd go and see one or the other, and then Coldplay just became massive. And I suppose they don't do themselves any favour with the whole Hollywood lifestyle and
Yeah. The Gwyneth Paltrow.
the
of it,
vagina
yeah.
steaming and all that. Not suggesting that Coldplay steam their badges, but.
Well,
But Gwyneth certainly does.
I'm
She
glad
recommends
that
it.
at this stage in the podcast we have got onto vagina steaming.
Yes.
Partly because I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
Oh, it's just something Gwyneth recommends.
Do you think this could be a reason why they split? So
I don't know.
why have you used that word?
I think it's like
It's all right, Max. You can edit all this out. You can edit all this
lower
out.
the tone,
it's
don't
not.
I?
It's not going in, or is it? So Coldplay, vagina steaming. Shall we? Let's move on.
Yes.
From Bieber, from
Move on from Coldplay.
all that. Is there? I think we're going to have to leave Bieber shortly. Is there anything else that you would recommend in terms of what we can look forward to as a next possible single? Are there any more singles on this record? Are we going to be looking at a kind of Thriller style, every song released as a single in the way that clearly 1989 has become?
Yeah, I love the trend for it. I remember Five Star used to do it, so I could get the singles as well as the albums and the 12 inches complete.
Yeah, complete. All the pictures, sleeves on the wall.
I don't know whether the Big Sean one, No Pressure, might be the next single,
Okay.
but I reckon there might be a remix of something before it can go out.
Does Big Sean have anything?
He's big.
I'm just trying to remember the Big Sean, because there's a couple of songs towards the end where Justin Bieber almost becomes the kind of musical foil to the main attraction of the track, which is an elongated rap part.
Oh yeah, the Big Sean one, No Pressure, is pure 10 years ago R&B. You'd
Right.
see it on people dancing on a table on Empire, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Which I think, if he brought that out, I think it would please the old fans as well as the new. But I
Okay.
don't think the old fans have shied away from his new direction, which is a lovely thing.
No, they clearly haven't.
Yeah.
Not with these sales. So, okay. Well, we've been talking about Purpose. That's Purpose, not Porpoise. We should have called
Porpoise.
it Porpoise. Would have been nice. Porpoise, by Justin Bieber, which is available, of course, on Tunetribe.com. I'm now going to move us gently towards an area, a non-musical area, Hannah, which I normally do at the end of a point, and you should be prepared for now. And if you're not, then I'm going to have to make something up for you.
Okay.
But I'm wondering whether there's anything that you have discovered, it possibly could be televisual, that you could recommend listeners to watch or to enjoy, if it's a cheese or possibly a piece of chocolate, that has been making you happy for the last few weeks.
Well, there's something I've been waiting to discuss with you that
Okay.
was on TV on a Monday night.
Okay.
And it goes by the name of Vinyl.
Oh,
now,
you bring
here we go. We need to bring this up. So it's a Mick Jagger creation. It's Scorsese. It's basically the workings of the music industry. You know what they do. They go to gigs and they take all these drugs and they sign people to their labels, and all the ladies in the office just look pretty and put headphones on. Yeah. And I must admit, I've only got halfway through the first episode because the sound on my TV is so rubbish. I want to watch it properly.
Okay.
But so far,
When you say you want to watch it properly, do you have somewhere where you can go, like being a sort of industry professional, where you can go and watch it in, surround sound with?
if you miss the screening, no, I just need to buy a new telly,
Okay.
so that I can appreciate it.
Okay.
Like most shows, you can get away
Okay.
with it, but I want the full experience.
Well, I've obviously, like so many people who is a fan of music, I'm aware of this show and I've read a lot about it, and I
Yeah.
really want to watch it, but I don't have Sky Atlantic, which
Oh,
is the
really?
channel it's available
Oh,
on.
no.
So I feel I'm going to have to sort of befriend someone locally who's
Come
got
round.
Sky.
Wanna get
Yeah,
my
I
new
should.
telly?
I should come to Southeast London. I don't live in London anymore. Otherwise, I would. I'd be on your doorstep like a shot. But would you, for the half of it you've seen with poor sound quality,
Yes.
what were your thoughts? What do you think?
I thought it was, for me, being quite shallow. It's everything I want in a show like that.
Okay.
It's in the way that Empire is.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite the big cliches. At one point, they're on a private jet, taking loads of drugs. At one point, they're at a gig. Guess
Right.
what they're doing?
Okay.
One point, they're in the office. Surprise! And the, but yeah. They allow some ladies in it just as A&R assistants.
Of course. But I heard there was a sort of equivalent to the Peggy character in Mad Men, who is who is an assistant, but she wants to be a talent
and
scout.
she tells everyone
and
she's in A&R.
And I've seen a clip where she goes, there's a classics of A&R meeting where the A&R boss is sort of going, that's not what I want. What are you doing? And then she goes, I think I found a group and somebody listened to me. and he goes, who are these people? And he tells, he goes, well, where'd you find them? I saw him on the subway, and I said I liked his look or something like that.
Yeah. So
I felt it was a terrible pile of cliches, but I really enjoyed every moment of it.
oh no, but there's the greatest thing. The record company boss.
Yeah.
And I actually had to write this down because it was such a quote last night.
Yeah.
Within the first few minutes, he's in a board meeting. He goes, I've got a golden ear, I've got a silver tongue, and I've got balls of steel. Something like that. And it's just like,
I've
this is
said
so
that. I've said
good.
that in
And it
loads
reminded
of
me
meetings.
Of you. And
In fact, I used to say that every morning to the team when we used to work together, didn't I? I don't know, maybe not.
I found this new band, Belle and
I've got ears.
Sebastian.
I've got balls of gold, ears of steel. No, wait a minute. I'll come back. I'll come in again.
No, so I think it's for a Monday night on Sky Atlantic. I think let's keep watching. I love it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to watch it, if only to to have an opinion when people say, "Oh, what do you think of vinyl, Ben?" It does sound great, because I heard someone being a little bit snooty about it in the way that we were just talking about with Justin Bieber, saying, "Oh, well, it's not like the music business is, and it's not true."
It'd be a bit boring if it was.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's like the same. You know, I don't know whether you saw Kill Your Friends, that we did a podcast on it a few weeks ago.
I really want
I really recommend it. It's really fun, and again, it's completely over the top. And another scene, as you just described. Oh, they're taking drugs again. But it's fun, you know. Albeit all the characters are entirely hateful. I don't know. Are there any likeable characters in vinyl?
Troubled, I would say. Troubled. But
Right,
I think
okay.
the things that they do signify that they might not be the greatest people on earth. Yes.
Good. Well, I think we're kind of at the end of the podcast, and we've been talking about purpose. That wasn't deliberate. I've been talking about Purpose by Justin Bieber, double vinyl. It's got a few fillers on it, but I think in short, a thumbs up, Hannah. I mean,
definitely
not that Bieber with his some ludicrous 98 million Twitter followers really needs our involvement.
He doesn't need my thumbs up, but he's got it anyway.
He's got it anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have been recommended vinyl by someone who watches all the telly, so knows what's out there.
There you go. Enjoy. Are you a Belieber now?
I'm a believer in his singles.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm fully signed up to his LPs.
Yes.
That's my thoughts. Hannah, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you. A pleasure as always.
Please come back and let's speak more pop.
Let's.
Okay, bye.
Contact us via email at podcast@tunetribe.com and follow us on Twitter @tunetribe for exclusive competitions and updates.